Now, hold on, Chet. To be fair, Chiefs fans were saying the exact same thing back in 2019 when Tom Brady did the same thing against them. What's the difference between that situation and this one?
Well, Kyle ain't gonna lie to you. Difference about that. My, it's a fuck you. That's why.
Welcome to the Jungle, Bengals fans. I'm Kyle Phelps, and I'm still pinching myself to make sure that it's real. The Cincinnati Bengals play in the AFC Championship on Sunday. After 34 years of either ineptitude or heartbreak, they're finally back in the NFL's Final Four. Before we get into previewing that game, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It really helps my channel out, and it helps you to be the first to know when we put out these awesome Bengals previews with our excellent team of correspondents before Bengals games, recaps after the games, NFL coverage weekly, and Battle of Ohio podcast clips on the off days. Also, live streams for every Bengals away game, including the upcoming AFC Championship game on Sunday, which I will be live streaming. Might I also possibly get the chance to live stream the Super Bowl too? No, I won't be live streaming the Super Bowl. I'm going to be watching that game with my friends and family because I ain't spending... If the Bengals make it to the Super Bowl, I ain't spending the whole day on YouTube. That's just not happening. But I will film my reaction to the game, so you guys will still have something to look forward to from me for that game. So the Chiefs, we've seen them before, right? You know, just back in Week 17, the Bengals beat them. It seems like the whole world doesn't think the Bengals are going to win this one. Just like the whole world, including me actually, predicted we wouldn't beat the Chiefs back in Week 17. Well, you know what? We did. It took one of the most complete games that I've ever seen this Bengals team play, and a little bit of luck at the end, but damn it, we did it. So why the hell can't we beat them again? The easy answer would be pointing out that this game is going to be in Kansas City at Arrowhead, one of the loudest and most difficult places to play in the entire country. That said, the Bengals have been pumping insane levels of crowd noise into their stadium so that they could practice with it this week. So hopefully they won't be going into this game completely unprepared. Now, Joe Burrow said that none of these NFL stadiums get as loud as those SEC stadiums get. I don't know if he's right about that because I've never been to an SEC game and I've never been to an Arrowhead game before. But to be fair, Joe Burrow's never played at Arrowhead before either, so maybe he just hasn't seen how bad it can get. That said, I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as Chiefs fans would lead you to believe, though. The Bengals are 6-3 on the road this year, regardless of what stadiums they're playing in. Or really, you could call it 6-2 because one of those losses was a completely meaningless Week 18 game against the Browns, where hardly any players who will be playing in this game were playing in that game. And if the Bengals were playing their starters the way the Browns played, I imagine we probably would have come away with a win in that one. So whether Arrowhead is a tough place to play or not, the Bengals know how to win on the road, which is useful because they don't have any more home games this year. So what takeaways can we get from the last Bengals-Chiefs matchup from Week 17? Well, we do know that the Bengals know how to stop Patrick Mahomes. It took them a while to figure that out last time. You know, they allowed 28 points in the first half, but the second half they only allowed 3 points and had a massive come-from-behind win. We know the Chiefs had absolutely no answer for Jamar Chase on the day. He had 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, the Chiefs can choose to put extra resources on stopping Chase this week. But if you do that, you're probably just freeing up T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, who also had pretty decent outings against the Chiefs in that game, to have really huge games and really give this Bengals offense some extra life. Now, one thing we know about the Chiefs is they have a pretty strong rushing attack, which the Bengals did not have many answers for last time. This time around, the Chiefs are not going to be missing, or at least they probably won't be missing, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who they were missing the first time. He's listed on the injury report with a shoulder injury, but he's been full practice all week, so I'd be shocked if he didn't play. So, the Bengals might have their hands a little full with the Chiefs' rushing attack this week. they would do well not to get down by a huge amount again this time around. And I'm not saying they can't overcome a large deficit and come back, because obviously they did last time, but with the Chiefs' rushing attack being such a strong factor, it might be a lot tougher to overcome this time around. Now, I will say one of the biggest factors of this game is going to be the injury report, because both teams are going to this game about as healthy as they've ever been. You know, the Chiefs have pretty much every single player except for Darrell Williams, the backup running back, full practice on the injury report this week. There was some question about whether Tyrann Mathieu, the safety, would be in, but he practiced in full on Thursday. The Bengals look like they're likely going to be missing Cam Sample for this game, but other than that, you know, you've got Stanley Morgan, Josh Tupou, were limited in practice this week, and outside of that, everybody seems relatively healthy outside of the guys who are on IR. So it's going to be a matchup between these two teams at their full strength, and it is going to be, regardless of whether you're a Cincinnati Bengals or a Kansas City Chiefs or a neutral fan, it's going to be a fascinating matchup to watch. But I will say there's more to the Chiefs than what we saw a few weeks ago. For a bit more insight on the Chiefs and how their fans have been since then, we're going to be bringing back Chet from Chet's Certified Chiefs Cholesterol Cast, sponsored by RivVPN. Chet, you're the first returning correspondent we've had on the show. Say what's up again, man.
What's up, Kyle? Been a while since we talked to you. Unfortunately, that game in Week 17 didn't go so well for us because y'all paid the refs, but, well, more about that later.
Damn, I can already tell how this one's going to go, you salty asshole. So why don't you update me a little bit on how things have been going out there in Kansas City since you got beaten by the lowly Cincinnati Bengals?
Well, Kyle, I ain't gonna lie to you. It's actually been pretty darn good ever since we lost to the Cincinnati referees in Week 17. We won the game that next week. Then we won a pretty good wild card game against the Steelers. And then we won a fucking great game against the Bills last week. I'd say things are pretty good, and we're going to roll right into the Super Bowl now.
Yeah, I can't lie. That game against the Bills may have been the single greatest football game that I've ever seen in my entire life before. So, how's the vibe out there in Kansas City right now? Is everyone looking forward to the Chiefs hosting their fourth straight AFC Championship game?
Absolutely, Kyle. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's gonna be pretty nice here having you guys in town, and then we're gonna beat you guys. This game's at Arrowhead this time. It ain't at some hot dog stand that you guys got over there in Cincinnati where y'all play football. This is a real stadium with real fans and a real quarterback. And y'all are going to come in here, you're going to get your butts kicked, and we're going to go to the Super Bowl and probably beat the 49ers again.
Well, we'll see about that. I want to talk a little bit about what happened at the end of the divisional game against the Bills, though. Like I said, for me, probably the greatest game that I have ever personally watched as a football fan before. But there are some out there that think that the greatness of the game was tarnished by what they view as problematic overtime rules, particularly Bills fans who aren't happy about the outcome of the game. What's your response to the people who've been complaining about the sudden death overtime rules that the NFL keeps and how it relates to the outcome of this game?
Well, Kyle, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think the Chiefs played a much better game than the Bills did. I mean, if the Bills wanted to win, why'd they not stop Patrick Mahomes at 13 seconds to go in the fourth quarter? Overtime rules is fine. Everyone bitching and moaning about the overtime rules. It's just a bunch of sore losers.
Now, hold on, Chet. To be fair, Chiefs fans were saying the exact same thing back in 2019 when Tom Brady did the same thing against them. What's the difference between that situation and this one?
Well, Kyle, I ain't gonna lie to you. Difference about that, it's fuck you, that's why.
Okay, fair. I appreciate your honesty as always, Chet. So, what do you think that the Bengals need to do this week if they want to come away with a win and end up in the Super Bowl?
Well, Kyle, I ain't gonna lie to you. You're probably gonna have to pay the refs again like you did in Week 17. Probably because you got the best of Spagnuolo last time, if I'm being honest. I don't see that happening. His defense has actually been up and down, but it's going to be up this time because y'all are at Arrowhead this time. Our defense is going to play well. I am worried about the secondary again because your boy Burrow torched it last time. If the Spagnuolo wants to keep his job, he'll probably whip them motherfuckers in the shit down there in the secondary. But I really hope that Jamar Chase won't have another game. But if he does, it'll be because your Mikey boy paid off the refs again.
Look, man, if that's whatever you want to tell yourself is what happened during the game to help you sleep better at night, then you do whatever you need to do. So, why don't you go ahead and give me your prediction for this game? What do you think the final score is going to be?
Well, Kyle ain't gonna lie to you. It's probably gonna be a real hard-fought game. Not. Chiefs are gonna win 45-24, no question about it. This is the home of the Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium. Y'all are coming to my house. Be prepared to get your ass beat. And please sample our barbecue. It is tasty.
Of course, man. All that trash talking aside, Kansas City barbecue is probably my favorite regional barbecue style of all time. I'm not going to be able to make it out to Kansas City this week, but, you bet your ass next time I'm down there, I'm going to be all over that Arthur Bryant's barbecue, man. What about you, though? You going to be down there cheering your Chiefs on?
Fuck yeah, I'll be making it down to the game. Tickets are only $500. Are you kidding me? That's like a week vacation, except it's one football game. How could I pass that up to watch your fucking poverty franchise lose the AFC Championship? Definitely going and eating some Kansas City barbecue.
All right, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, man. I'll be eating some Kansas City barbecue myself this weekend as I'm celebrating the Bengals remaining undefeated in AFC Championship games this weekend. So, thanks for stopping by this week, Chet. I'm pretty sure that we'll be checking in with you next year because the Bengals play the Chiefs in the regular season next year too, right?
Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate it. And pretty sure we play each other in the regular season next year. So we'll see you then. And then we'll see your motherfucking asses in the playoffs again, where we're going to beat you twice next year.
Well, he sure seemed a little bit saltier than last time, huh? For those of you who might not remember, he kept bitching because, Chiefs fans are convinced that the refs screwed the Chiefs out of that Week 17 game because they called a very, obvious illegal hands to the face penalty on the Chiefs at the end of the game. And outside of that, I'm not entirely sure what they're bitching about because there were a bunch of really bad calls on the Bengals too. But that penalty did end up giving the Bengals a fresh set of downs on the goal line and allowed them to run the clock all the way out and kick a walk-off Evan McPherson field goal at the end, not allowing Patrick Mahomes a chance to answer. So, in a way, I kind of get why they're mad. It's always bad optics when penalties determine the outcomes of football games, but seriously, it's like Chet was saying, about the overtime rules. Everyone's bitching and moaning about the rules, and, they're all just a bunch of sore losers, for real. Just admit that you got beat and move on to the next game. Maybe you should have stopped the Bengals from driving all the way down the field in the first place. Or maybe you shouldn't have committed game-changing penalties at the end that gave the Bengals the opportunity to run all that time off the clock. Honestly, I've never seen a fan base so unreasonably salty at the end of a game before in my entire life. But what are your guys' thoughts? Whether it be about the refs or whether it be about the Bengals' chances to win their third AFC Championship game this weekend, let me know in the comments below and I'll feature the best ones in my next video, like this one from Arthur Swanner, who commented on my Bengals-Titans preview, and he said 35-24 hooday! Well, you were right about the outcome, Arthur, just, not the score so much. Turned out to be a pretty low-scoring affair against the Titans. I definitely think they're going to need more than that to beat the Chiefs this week. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. You can always find more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, my Bengals coverage at ATBNetwork.com/Cincinnati Bengals, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and right here if you subscribe. But there's not much time left now, guys. We're one game away from the Super Bowl. Let's fucking go! I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hootie!